Hi, this is Mrs. Reichel, and we are officially moving on to Chapter 4. The chapter is all about skin and body membranes, so we're going to start off with body membranes and work our way into skin. So the function of body membranes is to cover body surfaces, to line body cavities, and then to form protective sheets around organs. The classification of body membranes include epithelial membranes and connective tissue membranes. Epithelial membranes include cutaneous membranes, mucous membranes, and serous membranes. Connective tissue membranes include synovial membranes, and we'll go through each one of these in a little bit more detail. Okay, so first up is the cutaneous membrane. Cutaneous means skin, but it's really a dry membrane. Okay, so your skin is dry. Okay, it's not mucousy and that sort of thing. In addition, your skin forms your outermost protective boundary. The superficial, hopefully you remember what superficial means. It means the outermost. The superficial epidermis is composed of keratinized, stratified squamous epithelium. Keratinized means that it's hardened. With a protein. So it's a protein that hardens cells. Stratified means what? More than one layer. Squamous means flat epithelium. The underlying dermis is mostly made up of dense connective tissue. Alright, the mucous membrane. The surface epithelium type depends on the site. So, for example, you have stratified, oops, that's not very good writing, is it? You have stratified squamous epithelium. Stratified squamous epithelium makes up the mouth and the esophagus. Okay, then the second form you have is simple columnar, which is going to make up other areas, and then the underlying loose connective tissue. In addition, this will line body cavities that open up to, I'm running out of room here, exterior body surfaces. And then the last little part about mucous membranes is they're often adapted for absorption or for secretion. Okay, so we're moving on to the serose or the serous membrane. This is where the surface is a layer of simple squamous epithelium. Then the underlying layer is a thin layer of areolar connective tissue. This lines open body cavities that are closed to the exterior of the body. So this is a big one in how it's different from the mucous membrane, so try not to mess that up. So the serous lines open body cavities that are closed to the exterior of the body, whereas mucous membranes are open to the exterior of the body. The serous membrane occurs in pairs that are separated by serous fluid. So you have a visceral layer. The visceral layer is going to cover the organ, and then, or maybe I should say the outside of the organ. So if we look at this layer, it's going to I'll probably mess it up if I draw over the top of it. But if you look at this heart here, the visceral pericardium is the one that's closest to the actual heart. Okay? Then the other is going to be the parietal. The parietal layer. Okay? This is going to line the ventral cavity. Okay, so if we look at the parietal layer, it's going to be the second layer. So visceral is going to be the innermost, it'll cover the organ. Parietal is going to be the outer layer. Okay, let's see here. Here's another diagram as well. The outer wall is going to be the parietal. Inner wall is going to be the visceral. And then the inside fluid is the serous fluid. Okay, so there are some specific locations of this type of membrane. The peritoneum makes up the abdominal cavity. Okay, so next up, the pleura makes up the area around the lungs. And then the pericardium is the area around the heart. Okay, then we get into the connective tissue membrane. So the connective tissue membrane is the synovial membrane. It contains connective tissue only. It'll line fibrous capsules surrounding joints, and it also secretes a lubricating fluid. So an example here is this joint right here. So we have the synovial fluid right here. We have all sorts of different types of connective tissue, and we're actually not going to talk about joints or synovial membranes too much right now, because in chapter 5 we have a whole section on joints and how those work. So we're just going to move on from here, and the next video is actually going to talk about the integument.